Good morning to Mark Kermode and Simon Mayo.
Good afternoon.
It's morning.
It feels like the afternoon already. I only talk in the afternoon. Good morning.
And how are you?
Yeah, we're doing very well, thank you. I've just come up on the train. Mark flies up.
Well, I felt it was necessary to increase my carbon footprint, although on the way up I did watch The Age of Stupid.
How long's The Age of Stupid then?
Well, I had watched some of it, but I was just catching up on the rest of it, and I was watching the bit that said there's nothing worse you can do for the planet than fly, although by that point I was in the air, so there wasn't a whole bunch I could do about it.
So this is your own private DVD that you've got? Because they weren't actually showing a film on the flight from Southampton.
That says you mustn't ever fly. It's a really bad idea. No.
Sorry, we were taking over there. We just forgot where we were for a moment.
No, it's good. It's good. Always on the films. That's cool. So how come you are in Leeds then today? What brings you to Leeds?
We're doing a programme this afternoon from the Hyde Park Picture House, and we're doing the show there. We're doing it in front of a live audience, which we've never done before, and then we're going to have a cup of tea, and then we're going to show a movie.
How have you found the exchange from Radio 1 to 5 Live? Because you were at Radio 1 for 15 years, I believe.
I was there forever. And then Mark left. He gave up because he thought he was too old. Which, of course, we all got too old many years before we left. But we sort of got away with it for a bit longer. And then Mark disappeared. What were you doing for all that time?
I left because I said that I left at the point that I was twice the age of the average listener, and I thought if I was listening to Radio 1, I wouldn't want somebody twice as old as me saying, you know what, this film, it's not as good as the films they had when I was a kid. And
I think the average age listener to Radio 1 is something like 31.
No. Well, not according to the figures. No, according to the figures, it was like 16 or something, and I was at that point 30.
They made that up.
I did. Okay, fine. They just wanted to get rid of me. Yeah. And then I had a couple of years at Channel 4 introducing extreme cinema on Film 4, and it was like, uncut versions of Salon Kitty.
Oh, right. So extreme cinema defined as stuff not many people watch.
No, defined as stuff that loads of cineasts want to see in its full uncut form, or what they want to see is the film with an introduction by me explaining all the bits that have been taken out of it. Did you know, for example, that when Salon Kitty is now completely uncut, but when Salon Kitty was cut by the British censors, one of the things they cut, Salon Kitty's a sort of silly, exploitative, naughty Nazis movie, but it's actually, as far as I can tell...
Naughty Nazis as opposed to the other kind.
No, but it's the film that the reader is essentially trying to be. I mean, the reader is just Salon Kitty with A-levels, but there's a thing in the censors' cuts that said they had to remove the sight of a man throwing a sausage dart at a woman whose bottom has been made up to look like a dartboard. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. How can you take that out? It's clearly essential to the plot.
That sounds a lot better. I wasn't a huge fan of the reader, I have to say.
No,
I'd rather see that.
It's all Kate Vincent going like this. Yes, you're a very naughty boy. You have a little bit of dirt on your face. I must give you a full scrub down in the bath, and then you shall read the Lady Chatterley to me, and shall get some stumping, and then it is. That's what it is.
That is a lower-ish.
It's not a bit hello. It's very hello.
No, it's you that's hello-ish. As soon as we're into Mark's accents, it's time to move on to a different subject.
Okay.
Well, does everyone here drink Red Bull?
Yes.
If you look through the glass there, Mark, everyone here has got like Red Bull in there. Is there some kind of promotion on?
Delivering a free crate of them.
Oh,
yeah, I think we're getting them for free. I'm sure you can have plenty if you want some.
Do we want Red Bull?
I'm not sure.
What is it? It's just like
what young people
It's
do.
Sugar and caffeine, isn't it? It's just to make you stay awake all night so you can have a banging time.
You've both been to university. Since I've been at uni...
It's amazing, isn't it, that he's been to university? This is an indication of how far downhill the standards of education have gone. He's got a doctorate, right?
My university was much, and still is much better than yours.
Where did you go?
Warwick University.
They got a university in Warwick.
One of the finest... this just shows how out of touch you are. Warwick University, universally considered one of the great universities. And when Bill Clinton came over to address a student audience, where did he go? He went to Warwick University. And that's why my degree is worth more than yours.
Yeah, and then when they said, oh, incidentally, Simon, why don't you just have a doctorate? What did they give it to you for?
For getting one a few years previously.
Yeah, exactly.
Buy one, get one free.
Right, that's
Bog
it.
off.
Exactly. So you've got your degree and you're still around. Why don't you have a PhD while you're about it? Don't worry about doing the 3 years hard labour and writing a thesis.
Well, what's better?
Don't worry yourself with that.
Which do you think is better? Doing it for nothing or actually having to work hard for it?
I think you've answered your own question.
D-Lit. Thank you very much.
PhD.
Counts for now.
When you were at university, what were the big sort of cult films or the hype films that were out at the time? Can you remember?
I can, but you go first.
Well, the kind of exclusive that they had at Warwick was the first place in Britain that showed Life of Brian, because because they actually recorded the audience laughter track there. So before it actually came out, there was this rumour that went around the university, they're showing Life of Brian. We'd all heard about the controversy, so when the posters went up saying that Warwick University Film Sock was showing Life of Brian, everyone thought it was just made up. But they queued anyway, so they all went in, and what they did is they recorded the laughter track to put on a future soundtrack, which never got used. But the first ever screening for Life of Brian was at Warwick University Film Sock, so I think that counts.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So somewhere there is a recording of you...
Of everyone laughing, or not, in appropriate places and inappropriate places, which they were going to put on the actual soundtrack of the album.
God, I mean, that would have been incredibly annoying, but that's...
Yes, it would.
God, I'm really impressed. No, I'm really impressed.
Well,
that's it. No, the stuff was that when I was at college, you got there and everybody had a poster of Betty Blue and everybody had a poster of Wings of Desire, or Wings Over Berlin, as it was more trendy to call it, and everybody saw Blue Velvet and Eraserhead. Well, actually, funny, I saw Eraserhead and that lot before I went up there, but those were the cult posters that you had to have.
Flesh Gordon, I think, was the most popular film my first year.
No.
No, it was.
Okay.
You say no, you weren't there.
No, but what year were you at college?
77 to 80.
No, okay, that's fine, because you were allowed to say that now, because it was that period, because by the time I was there, things had moved on from Flesh Gordon, and we were on to sort of pastures new.
Flesh Gordon, I said.
Yeah, no, Flesh Gordon, I know, yeah. I understand. Yes, I have. I've got the Cine Fantastique special edition all about how they did the special effects in Flesh Gordon. Did you know, interestingly enough...
move on if you get bored.
Flesh Gordon did actually start out as intended to be a post-Deep Throat hardcore film, but then when they looked at the special effects, they went, you know what, this is good enough to release properly. So they took the sex out of it. So Flesh Gordon was one of those films that it was a sex film that didn't have any sex in it, but did have little tin robots and funny little sort of willy-shaped spaceships. It was rubbish.
I have to ask you, based on that, would you say that there's a difference in the sensibilities towards the attitudes towards sex in British films and French films? Because this is what I'm writing my dissertation on. And
this is good. Make notes.
Some ridiculous...
Yeah, no, but here's it, right? Here's it very simply. The attitude to sex in British films is... and the attitude to sex in French films is... I'm having a lot of sex, but I'm very depressed. I mean, Catherine Breillat, that's it. That's all her films are about. Bunch of people living in incredibly spanking apartments, having loads and loads of sex, and then going, life is so hard, I cannot go. Whereas in Britain, it's people having no sex at all, and every now and then catching a glimpse of Barbara Windsor going, why? That's it.
We've had an email in from Rich saying, did you two ever do student radio? Have you?
I did, yeah, I did student, I did a Saturday night programme. It was compulsory in those days for every Saturday night programme to be called Pyjama Rama. It being a Roxy Music hit about 5 years before. And so it was called Pyjama Rama. And I've got a tape of me doing it, actually, somewhere.
Are you any good?
Rubbish. But it was, in fact, I remember what would often happen was the whole radio station was shut down. I'd go in, open it up, turn it on, and just play records. And I thought I was just doing it for myself, and I probably was, actually. But occasionally you'd have a listener somewhere. But University Radio Warwick got into trouble with the Home Office because for some bizarre reason, although most of the campus couldn't hear it, we were broadcasting on the submarine band. So the Navy contacted the university authorities saying, you're jamming our frequency channel.
But did they mean jamming you're jamming it, man?
No, not...
Because all these people in the submarine, they go, have you been listening to that Simon Mayo of a Saturday night? No, he's wicked, man.
Pyjama-rama, yeah.
Talk like that. The safety of the nation was in peril because the submarines couldn't operate. So we were shut down by the Home Office because it wasn't possible to broadcast without broadcasting to the submarines. Anyway, they sorted that out, and then we came back on. You missed out. You should have done that. They didn't do it where you were.
No, they might have done, but I wasn't.
Manchester Poly, was it?
Manchester University. Wow. I mean, they're all universities now, aren't they? Yeah. No, I was at Manchester University. They might have had a student radio at Manchester University. I was certainly never allowed into its hallowed halls.
Can't imagine why.
No.
How did you both get into radio professionally then?
Well, I got in through you, didn't I?
Did you? No, you did Mark and Lard first. On Saturday.
Yeah, I know. You see, we did a thing in the Independent recently. There's a column in the Independent called "How You Met," and then you both
completely different versions.
yeah, and which we got, obviously we're thinking of different people. But no, I mean, I was doing. Oh no, I know. I tell you, I can know the very first radio I ever did. I was working in Time Out in London, and the phone rang for Derek Adams, who was the Time Out video reviewer, and they said, "Hello, is Derek there?" And I said, "No, he's on holiday, and I'm covering for him." They said, "Oh, that's a pain. This is LBC. He's our video reviewer. We need him on this Sunday." I said, "Oh, well, I'll do it." And they said, "Have you got any radio experience?" And I said, "Yeah." Which I didn't, because I figured how hard can it be? And I turned up there on a Sunday morning, and I thought the way radio would work was you'd be ushered into a suite, and everyone would sort of talk to you for a long time, and they'd all discuss what was going to happen, and then you'd go in and do it. But of course, what happens, as is demonstrated here, somebody opens a door and you're on air. And they opened the door, and I was on, and they said, "So, what's out this week?" And I just panicked, and I just went, and I said everything I know about anything in 4 minutes, and then I was out the other end. And it was like being mugged. And then the next week, I had to go back and do it again. I planned the next week because I knew how it was going to work out. I planned what I was going to do, and I wrote a script. And I went, well, I'm glad you asked me, because interestingly, out this week, and afterwards, I came out and the producer said, "Yeah, it was all right, but we preferred it last week when you pretended you didn't know what you were doing." And that's been the mantra ever since then.
That's been the model.
How did you get into radio, Simon?
Oh, right. I did local radio after, being enormous success on University Radio Warwick. Did a bit of local radio in Brighton, and then got a job for the BBC in Nottingham, and then went to Radio 1 from there.
My mum worked at BBC Radio Brighton once in the 70s.
That music's finished.
That's
Fact
amazing.
fans there.
The music. Oh, there you go.
I know, it's back up again.
It
It's still
loops
there, still
again.
there.
I have to say, I read your glowing review of Mamma Mia in the DVD review in the Observer.
Oh, yeah.
And I want to say, can you think of a better term than guilty pleasure to describe films like this? Because I love the film, no matter how
Guilty pleasure. The whole concept of
technically
guilty pleasure is flawed.
Yes, because all pleasure is guilty.
No, it's just something that's good that you enjoy. Why does it have to have any guilt attached to it at all? It's like saying listening to the best of ABBA. No, it's not. It's just a good record.
No, but
If
that's
you
a,
like it,
no,
it's
that's a,
good.
but hold on, that's a different thing. Listening to the best of ABBA, there's nothing guilty about it at all because it's brilliant. It's brilliant because it's brilliant. Watching Mamma Mia and enjoying it is different because it's brilliant because it's so terrible. I mean, it is the so bad it's brilliant thing, and there are very, very few films that come under the so bad it's brilliant banner. All the ones that people tell you do, like the Troma movies and Surf Nazis Must Die and Teenage Nymphoid Barbarian and Dinosaur Hell and Rugsuckers from Mars. They're not so bad, they're brilliant, they're just bad. But Mamma Mia is one of that very small handful of movies that it's so bad.
So would you say REO Speedwagon? Right. So is that a guilty pleasure?
No, I hate REO Speedwagon.
But for some, they always end up on the guilty pleasure album, Volume 6.
What?
REO
What you mean?
Speedwagon.
Heard it from a friend who is that them?
Or is that Boston?
Is that Boston? What was no?
No, that is REO Speedwagon. I don't know.
It's the one when I
Let's
remember.
ask the audience.
Yeah, they were once introduced by Jimmy Savile as Rio Speedwagon. I do remember that.
Yeah.
What was that song they did? Was it called Baby? It was all that you.
No, that was Styx.
Oh, that was Styx.
Anyway,
Yeah.
enough 70s soft rock. Enough. We should probably go and talk to Yorkshire Telly.
Oh, have you had enough of radio?
No,
We're
just
upsizing.
Just noticed that time's getting on.
I go wherever you tell me to go.
Okay, so could you just leave us with any recommendations of films
REO
that are out
Speedwagon.
at the
It's not a
moment?
film.
Maybe to take a mother's to for Mother's Day, maybe?
Good idea.
Oh.
We might use this idea later.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, we'd definitely nick that because it's Mother's Day on Sunday, isn't it?
High School Musical.
No, but that's not in cinemas anymore. That's now out on
Something that's
DVD.
out, yeah.
I mean, Of Time in the City is the best thing of last year, but that's that's on
right.
DVD.
Black and white film about Liverpool. How
what's
exciting
out this
could
week?
it
Well,
be?
there's the Julia Roberts film, which is incredibly sort of 12 certificate. No, you know what?
How about Lesbian Vampire Killers? Would that work as a
Yeah.
Mother's Day thing?
Have you seen Lesbian Vampire Killers?
No, I've seen the adverts for it, though.
Well, then you've seen the film. That's
terrible.
terrible.
Okay.
Movie. Well, there is no really great mother's movie out at the moment, is there?
Depends what taste your mother has, I would imagine.
Yeah, take her to see The Damned United, but that's not out until next week, is it?
Actually, oh yeah. That's
But
true.
she would enjoy The Damned United because everyone enjoys The
What
Damned
about
United.
Marley and Me? That's a nice
No.
film.
Oh, I
yeah,
saw
yeah.
your review of that.
That's a nice film to take.
It's a
your
nice
mother
film about
to.
having your dog put down. Honestly, that's it. It's lovely, isn't
Well,
it?
don't give away the ending.
It's not giving away the ending.
The dog
to say,
dies.
The dog, yeah, no, but the dog dies, and the worst thing is that as the dog dies, there's literally, and it's so pornographic. They stick the drip into the dog, and they CGI the dog's eyes closing like this, while Owen Wilson, in that voice that he does, goes, "Hey Marley, it's okay. You don't have to do anything, Marley. We'll do it all for you." And it's like, get a life.
Oh dear.